What do crashed cars, shattered lives, early death, and sexual assault all have in common? It's that too often they can all be traced back to binge drinking. Binge drinking is qualified by Emily Litfield in her 2002 book, Alcohol Abuse, as a man drinking 5 drinks or more in a 2-hour period and a woman drinking 4 drinks or more in the same period. This type of drinking has a number of causes, it has a number of effects, and it has a number of solutions, and I will explore those in the moments that follow. Emily Litfield has noted that for teenagers, 90% of teenage alcohol consumption takes the form of binge drinking. And teenage drinking peaks at age 19, an age that coincides with early college life. More bleak than that is the fact that 200,000 adolescents are taken to the emergency room every year for alcohol-related injuries. And on college campuses, over 1,700 college students die every year because of binge drinking or because of drinking and driving. Now, that may not seem like a very high number relative to the greater college population that numbers in the millions. But the reason that the number isn't higher is because automotive manufacturers have come a long way in the last couple of decades in making vehicles safe, and seatbelt use has been more widely diffused throughout our culture. However, the problem of college binge drinking itself has not been dealt with adequately. And this is highlighted by George Dodwell in his book College Drinking, which was published in 2009, where he shows that over 40% of college students binge drink, almost half. And when they binge drink, they're not just these large-scale effects in terms of loss of life and injuries. There's also other sociological effects. For example, Dodwell notes that 1 in 20 women who go to college report that they have been raped within the first 7 months of college life. Now, 1 in 20 is an unacceptable figure in itself, but to think that that happens just in the first 7 months, and that in over 70% of those cases, drinking is involved, certainly brings to the fore the fact that we have a problem. Now, it's important to realize that not every one of those rape cases are investigated and prosecuted or even brought to the authorities. There's a number of reasons why they don't. One is they might anticipate the blame the victim phenomenon, where the authorities may say that you were drinking also, and so you had a part in what happened to you. Another reason might just be the social stigma of being a rape victim. They're afraid they won't be able to keep it secret and it might get out. And so to avoid those prospects, all of these cases are not taken to the law, but nonetheless, 1 in 20 claim to have been raped in the first 7 months. It's clear that binge drinking is obviously a problem, but what are its causes? Randy Larson, in his textbook, Psychology of Personality, published in 2008, discusses the biochemical approach. The notion that some people suffer a dopamine shortage in their central nervous system, and to compensate for those shortcomings, they indulge in alcohol. However, that can't really approach the issue of binge drinking in particular. It more speaks to alcoholism in general. He notes that in order to understand what's going on, you have to appreciate the culture, and the entertainment culture in particular. He notes the movie Animal House, which came out in 1978, that had kind of these iconic images of guys like John Belushi standing there with an empty bottle of Jack Daniels and a shirt that said college on it, as if the two things go together, or as if they're somehow mutually inclusive. It's that image that is being projected into our culture, which has given so many people who, when they go to college, may very well end up being the 40% who binge drink, has given them the notion that if they're going to be socially viable when they get to college, they must necessarily make room for their life for drinking. And obviously, that's not logical, but it prevails nonetheless. Eric Newhouse, in his 2001 book, Alcohol, discusses the problem of competitive drinking, and especially at competitive universities. Schools like Duke University, which academically speaking are very preeminent, but also have an inordinate level of alcohol abuse and binge drinking. The notion is not only do young men, when they drink, do they drink competitively, but there's also this notion in the culture that says if you work hard, if you put the hours in, if you're doing well academically, this gives you an excuse to go and drink in an irresponsible way on the weekends. In fact, again, according to Eric Newhouse, there are medical professionals who have their medical practice in university towns who really expect that when it's coming time for finals or time for graduation, that they will get more college students coming into the hospital because of alcohol-related incidents. And so this notion where academic success becomes a smokescreen for irresponsible behavior is another cause of binge drinking. Now, Dodwell has also observed that a lot of students, of course, don't begin with the goal of becoming alcoholics or binge drinkers. They actually begin drinking just because they want to break the ice. However, the cultural currents which push students to lose control are so strong socially that people end up going down the slippery slope. They go into a lifestyle of binge drinking, and they originally had no intention to do so. So, what do you do about it? Well, the first thing we have to do as a culture is to expand our notion of alcoholism to include binge drinking. The people whom everyone knows needs to get help for alcohol are usually unsuccessful people or people who drink every day. If you are sober all week long and you are productive, and then you only drink on the weekends, you may not feel that you qualify for treatment. But if that type of drinking is leading to physiological effects, criminal effects, if it's affecting your life socially, or causing you to make stupid decisions in general, then you qualify for treatment. Mark Rose, in his 2011 book, Alcohol, Its History, Pharmacology, and Treatment, notes that a number of drugs like naltrexone have been used to target specific areas in the brain, specific neurotransmitters that deal with alcohol cravings. Taking these types of drugs in conjunction with psychosocial treatment, such as rehabilitation, can come a long way. However, rehab obviously won't be for everybody, and even people who are affected by binge drinking may not want to go the route of rehab because their schedules won't allow it. That's why AA has become so popular, also because it's been so successful. At any given time, there are over 1,260,000 Americans who are involved with AA. AA is not run by professionals, it's run by real-world people who've overcome alcohol problems themselves, and this has made them sort of competent to make up a social support group to help people who are presently affected. Rose also notes that there are some sort of unorthodox ways to treat your biology when it comes to binge drinking. If you spend the week sober and then you get to the weekend and you're uneasy and you want to drink, that would be a good time to indulge in activities that elicit the sort of biochemical response that emulates the joys and pleasures associated with drinking. For example, exercise. Exercise releases the endorphins that are really very similar to a drinking situation, and obviously does so in a way that doesn't impair your judgment and doesn't damage your body or any other aspect of your life. There are other practices like yoga and meditation, natural healthy practices that will really put you in a situation to help you stave off alcohol cravings. So in the end, you see that there are a number of causes and a number of effects of college binge drinking, as well as a number of treatments. What we have to do as a culture is deconstruct the notion that college life implies a drinking life, and only after we deal with that stereotype will we be able to move forward onto solutions. And when we do that, we will be able to take affected people and maneuver them into a situation where they can graduate from academia, go into the vocational world, and lead lives that are healthier, happier, and more conducive to long-term success.